Chew. It's a quiet killer in baseball that has taken down some of its greats. One such legend was Tony Gwynn, a player whose battle with addiction birthed a devastating cancer that took his life instantly. Get ready for a truth that's both shocking and sadly familiar. Anthony Keith Gwynn Sr., commonly known as Mr. Padre, was born May 9, 1960, in sunny Los Angeles, California. Born and raised with the story of pure dedication and the love of family, Tony would learn more about it through the years. Tony's parents, Charles and Vendella Gwynn, decided when Tony was 9 years old that it was time to move from their apartment to a house in nearby Long Beach. Why Long Beach? Well, they were looking for great schools, beautiful parks, and most importantly, youth sports year-round. It was the perfect playground for a future baseball legend. Tony grew up sandwiched between his older brother Charles, who would go on to play college baseball and then follow in his dad's footsteps as a teacher, and his younger brother Chris, who also made it to the big leagues. Talk about some talent in one family. That's because the ultimate coach, Charles the Sr., turned their backyard into a makeshift baseball field, a long strip of grass longer than it was wide. If you pulled the ball too much, it landed in the neighbor's yard, and the left field was so short you couldn't hit it the other way. Sounds like a challenging training ground, right? They would play until they ran out of wiffle balls, then get creative. A sock rolled in rubber bands, a wad of tape, or even a hardened fig from a neighbor's tree. No wonder Tony created his quirky batting style, yet he naturally hit the ball opposite field. As a young boy, Tony was a great Los Angeles Dodgers fan. He liked it very much when his hero, Willie Davis, was performing. He was known for speed on the bases, 398 stolen bases, and 182 home runs. Tony liked Davis not only because of his stats, but also because he was a black left-handed player who played very aggressively but under control. He respected Davis's work ethic too. While most kids around him were chasing home run hitters, Tony was different. He loved the art of hitting so much, and boy, did it pay off. Although Tony Gwynn was offered college scholarships in basketball, he rejected his college basketball offers. His only baseball scholarship came from San Diego State University after he had second thoughts about doing so after receiving pressure from Texas Christian University as their first black player in 30 years. At San Diego State, he played both basketball and baseball. He made history as the first WAC player to earn all conference honors in both sports. Gwynn almost hesitated to try out for the SDSU baseball team after two of their outfielders got hurt. But that is where his illustrious baseball career started. Gwynn started his playing with the San Diego Padres back in 1982 with a very phenomenal debut, although he was often injured. In 1984, he won his first batting title and helped the Padres make their first World Series. Gwynn performed well in the 1980s and 1990s by capturing 8 more batting titles and setting many records. For all of his injuries and criticism, he was still one of the most valuable players due to his work ethic and his excellence. In 1999, Gwynn hit his 3,000th hit, which truly sealed his mark in baseball. Though he was injured, he kept on playing until 2001, when he retired. He finished his career with a .324 average during 20 seasons. He is one of the most valued hitters in baseball history, as well as one of the most dedicated and actual players in the game. Tony Gwynn was a tower of cheerfulness in Major League Baseball. His batting average was tremendous, with a 40% on-base percentage, but his smile genuinely won over fans. Former teammate Mark Grant joked that Gwynn's laughter could light up a room, making him a questionable guest at solemn events like church due to his contagious sense of humor. Gwynn was a giant in popular appeal. Fans would stand in line for hours to get his autograph. He was a hero in San Diego. They called him Mr. Padre, and he received standing ovations when he got milestone hits. More than that, he was popular off the field with his commercials, charity work, and community events, and he always had a grin on his face that somehow represented his love for the game. Before things start getting grim, make sure to like the video, turn notifications on, and subscribe for more baseball icon stories. With that said, let's move on to Gwynn's personal life. Behind his ever-sunny smile, however, Gwynn harbored a surreptitious addiction to what is probably the most insidious habit shared by most baseball players: smokeless tobacco. He started chewing tobacco during his rookie days when peer pressure and the culture of the sport introduced him to the habit. He was known to brush his teeth every day before a game, but then put in a dip for over 2 decades. Severe dependence by Gwynn. He would leave the house littered with plastic cups full of tobacco spit to Alicia's and his kids' great chagrin. He tried quitting many times, although these would never last long. He would secretly leave the house in the middle of the night to get more tobacco. His addiction was so deeply rooted that even when he caught his son drinking from one of the cups, filled with his spit by mistake, he never gave it up. After his illustrious playing career ended, Tony Gwynn had an off-the-field battle that may have been one of his most formidable opponents. He ballooned to 330 pounds and had to have adjustable gastric banding surgery in 2009. Even that intervention was not enough to get Gwynn to change his habits. In losing weight, his initial success could not be maintained, leading to more health woes. In 2010, these weight issues caused him to get a slipped disc in his back, which he would explain was causing him insufferable pain down his leg. The pain had gotten so severe that Gwynn could only walk with a walker before receiving surgery to remove the disc that was causing him so much agony. This relieved his walking pains, but did not solve all his health issues. A significant bump appeared on the inside of his right cheek that was found to be cancerous. It was somewhat of an eye-opener to Gwynn that he should treat his addiction immediately. His battle against his disease was fierce. The surgery left him with partial facial paralysis. He could not smile, he could not eat, and he could not even close his eyes. The radiation therapy and chemotherapy were stiff. His claustrophobia and the pain it entailed did not make it any easier for him. During his radiation treatment, he lost his sense of taste and had to eat on a liquid diet. He did lose 80 pounds during this time, but as soon as he went back to eating solid food, the weight came back. The support of Alicia Gwynn during this time was unshakable. She was his confidence coach, urging him on against the treatments when he wanted to give up. It was quite a ride for Gwynn going through cancer treatment and proved the strength of family ties. Throughout the ordeal, Gwynn himself became an unwilling spokesman against smokeless tobacco. In his fight, he made known the harsh hazards related to the habit that became very important for many in the baseball community and others who heard his story. He went on resisting at first, but eventually heeded, finally taking a stand by making proactive efforts to educate others about the perils of tobacco use. After Gwynn returned to coaching at San Diego State, he ensured his team stayed smokeless tobacco-free. He used the alternatives of sunflower seeds and gum for his players so they would not go down that path. He truly cared that upcoming generations be spared from this same type of addiction that burdened him. In March of 2011, he was declared cancer-free, an announcement that exemplified not just victory, but a new life. Gwynn's struggle with cancer had left his physical appearance changed, yet it did not thwart his mental fortitude. His return to the field with his laugh restored was an epitome image of recovery and hope. But the complications didn't end there. A severe mishap occurred while again undergoing cancer treatment in April 2014. Gwynn lost oxygen to his brain, causing him almost to become paralyzed and requiring rehabilitation to regain his walking ability. But through all his valiant struggles, his body continued to let him down. On June 16, 2014, Tony Gwynn passed away at Pomerado Hospital in Poway of complications from his relentless cancer. He was only 54 years old. The night before Father's Day, Gwynn had gone into cardiac arrest and was rushed from home to the hospital. His death has created that space in the hearts of fans and the baseball world. For Gwynn's sake, Petco Park held a public memorial on June 26, 2014, with the participation of over 23,229 fans. They included poignant tributes from baseball and civic leaders and moving eulogies from his family. He was laid to rest at Dearborn Memorial Park in Poway, where fans can pay homage to the legendary player. A statue was finally dedicated in memory of Tony Gwynn on May 9, 2017, at Lake Poway for his exploits on the field and in the community. In 2018, his family settled with the U.S. Smokeless Tobacco Company for an undisclosed amount. They had filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the company in 2016, arguing that Gwynn had become hopelessly addicted to their products. This was a bittersweet end to Gwynn's narrative, an exposure of the hidden wars he fought away from the fields. Tony Gwynn's life serves as one meant to exemplify resiliency in his athletic wins and personal battles. Now, his legacy inspires us in a way that nothing else can. a memento to never give up in sports or life. Let's leave some heartfelt comments for Mr. Padre in the comments below.